Hello everyone and welcome back to our video lesson series for English File 4th edition Intermediate. Whether you're learning English for work, for travel, or just for the fun of it, this course is designed to help you build your confidence and improve your fluency. Today we're diving into Unit 8, Part A, The Right Job for You. This is a really practical lesson. We're going to talk about jobs, work, and career choices, things that affect almost everyone at some point in their lives. Here is what we'll do in each part. Part 1, Vocabulary Work. We'll start with keywords and phrases about jobs and careers. First, you'll match sentences to pictures to learn a story about someone's career change. Then we'll study useful verb phrases like apply for a job and get promoted, and ways to say what you do, like I'm self-employed, and how to build job words, for example, science, scientist, and so on. Part 2, Pronunciation and Speaking Word Stress. We'll focus on word stress, where to put the emphasis in important work-related words. We'll practice words like salary and experience, and then you'll use them in conversation to talk about someone's job, their hours, their responsibilities, and so on. Okay, Part 3, Grammar, choosing between gerunds and infinitives. We'll learn when to use the ing form, gerund, and when to use to plus verb, infinitive. To make this fun, we'll start with a personality questionnaire to see what kind of job suits you. Then we'll study the rules and practice by talking about your own likes, dislikes, and experiences. Part 4, Writing, covering a mail. After that, writing, you'll learn how to write a formal email to send with your CV when you apply for a job. We'll look at a real job advertisement and a model email. You'll learn the correct formal phrases to use, and finally, you'll write your own covering email for a job you choose. 5. Reading, predicting from evidence. Next, reading. We'll read about a famous TV show where people present their business ideas to investors. It's called Dragon's Den. You'll read about 3 products that appeared on the show, and first you'll guess which ones were successful. Then you'll read to find out if your predictions were correct. Part 6, Listening and making notes. You'll listen to a real contestant from Dragon's Den talk about his experience. First, you'll answer true-false questions, then you will listen again to take notes on specific details about what happened before, during, and after his presentation to the dragons. And finally, number 7, speaking. You get to become a Dragon's Den contestant yourself. You will invent a new product or service, then you will prepare a short presentation, a pitch, to explain your product, its price, and why it's a great idea. Okay, that's the plan, lots to do, but it's all connected. Let's get started. Vocabulary, work, activity A. In this very first activity, we are going to learn some very useful vocabulary about jobs and careers. Look at the 9 pictures on your screen. They tell a story about a woman named Claire and her career change, the journey from one job to another. And you can see sentences from A to I. Your task is simple. Read each sentence and match it to the correct picture. The first one is done for you as an example. That should help you see how it works. Ready? Pause the video now, match the sentences to the pictures, and then come back to check your answers. Take your time. This is a nice, gentle way to start learning the vocabulary.
8.1 E 1.
Claire worked for a marketing company.
I 2.
She had to work very long hours and do overtime.
G 3.
She had a good salary, but she didn't like her boss.
D 4.
They had an argument and Claire was sacked.
C 5.
She was unemployed and had to look for a job.
F 6.
She applied for a lot of jobs and sent in CVs.
H 7.
She had some interviews but didn't get the jobs.
A 8.
She decided to set up an online business selling birthday cakes.
B 9.
Her business is doing very well. Claire is a success.
In this activity, you're going to learn common verb phrases about work and jobs. Look at the list of verbs on your screen. You see words like applied for, got promoted, resign, retire, and was sacked, and so on. Some of these might be new for you. Now look at sentences 1 to 11. Your task is to complete each blank with the correct verb from the list. You probably don't know half of these phrases yet, and that is totally okay. This is how you learn. Just try your best. Look at the second column on the right. It gives you a helpful definition or example for each sentence. Use these clues to make your best guess. Don't worry about being wrong, just try. After you finish, you will listen to the audio to check your answers and practice the correct pronunciation. Pause the video now, do your best, and then come back to check. Good luck!
Eight point 2 Work 1. Verb phrases. 1.
Dan has to do overtime. He has to work extra hours.
2.
Matt got promoted last week. He was given a more important job.
3.
Most nurses have to work shifts. Sometimes they work during the day and sometimes at night.
4.
A man in our department was sacked yesterday. The boss told him to leave.
5.
Colin was made redundant. He lost his job because the company didn't need him anymore.
6.
The director of the company is going to resign. He has decided to leave his job.
7.
Lillian is going to retire next month. She's 65 and she's going to stop working.
8.
Angela has set up a business selling clothes online. She had the idea and has started doing it.
9.
Everyone in the office has to do a training course. They need to learn how to use the new software.
10.
Mandy applied for a job online. She replied to an advert and sent in her CV.
11.
My parents run a language school in Brighton. They employ 6 teachers who teach English to foreign students.
Now let's use the vocabulary we've just learned to talk about real people, people we know. Look at these 6 situations. Think about someone you know who has experienced each one. It could be a family member, a friend, a colleague, or even yourself. Here are the questions. Do you know anybody who has applied for a job, who has got promoted, who has been made redundant, who has resigned, who has been sacked or fired, who has retired? Let me go first, just to give you an example of what to say. Applied for a job. First one. Yes, my brother. He hasn't left his current job yet, but he applied for one closer to home. He's tired of the long commute. It takes him 1 hour to get there and 2 hours back due to traffic. Can you imagine? 3 hours a day just driving. So he's looking for something nearer to his home. Number 2, got promoted. Not recently, but a friend of mine was promoted to a manager a couple of years ago. He now runs an office of 6 people. He's kind of, an important person there now. He has more responsibility, but he seems to enjoy it. 3. Been made redundant. Yes, one of my students was made redundant just before New Year's Eve. That was really bad timing. Unfortunately, many IT companies are going through a crisis right now and letting staff go. It's a difficult situation. 4. Resigned. Actually, my cousin recently resigned. He was really tired of his job. Not just the work, but the atmosphere, the pressure. He decided to change jobs. Honestly, it was partly because he was constantly being told to leave anyway. So he decided to take control and leave on his own terms. Okay, being sacked or fired. No, not really. The people I know are hardworking and responsible, so I haven't heard of anyone being fired recently. That's a good thing, I suppose. And retired. No one recently, but my father is going to retire soon. He's really looking forward to it. After so many years of work, he's ready for a break. More time for hobbies, more time to relax and do his household chores. Okay, your turn. What about you? Do you know anyone who has applied for a job, been promoted, made redundant, resigned, been fired, retired, and so on? Think about the people in your life. Take a moment to answer these questions for yourself. You can say them out loud, write them down, or share them with a partner. This is a great practice for using the vocabulary in real personal contexts. Feel free to answer these questions yourself and have fun with it. Part 2a. Describing your work situation. Adjectives. In this part, you will learn 5 very useful adjectives to describe your work situation. Here are the words: freelance, part-time, self-employed, temporary, unemployed. Your task is to match each word to its correct definition. First, look at definitions 1 to 3. These are for talking about people and their work status. Then look at definitions 4 and 5. These describe a type of job. Speaking of the activity B, and let's combine them, yeah? Now, let's look at some common prepositions we use when talking about work and study. Look at the 5 sentences on your screen. Some prepositions are missing. You need to complete them with one of these words: at, for, in, or of. After you try, you'll listen to audio 8.3 to check all your answers for both parts A and B. Ready? Start with these sentences now, then check yourself and learn this vocabulary.
Eight point 3. 2. Saying what you do. A. 1,
I'm unemployed.
2,
He's self-employed.
3,
He's a freelance designer.
4,
It's a temporary job.
5.
It's a part-time job.
B. 1,
I work for a multinational company.
2,
I'm in charge of the marketing department.
3,
I'm responsible for customer loans.
4,
I'm at school.
5,
I'm in my 3rd year at university.
Word building. The next section is all about word building, how to make new words from words you already know. Activity A. You will change verbs into nouns by adding endings like ment, ion, or ation. For example, promote, promotion, employ, employment, and something like that. And in part B, you'll make nouns for people's jobs. For instance, science, scientist, manage, manager. Take a moment to complete the tables, then listen, check, and practice your pronunciation.
Eight point 4. 3. Word building. A. 1,
Promote. Promotion.
2,
Apply. Application.
3,
Retire. Retirement.
4,
Employ. Employment.
5,
Qualify. Qualification.
6,
Resign. Resignation.
B. 1,
Science. Scientist.
2,
Law. Lawyer.
3,
Music. Musician.
4,
Pharmacy. Pharmacist.
5,
Farm. Farmer.
6,
Translate. Translator.
Now let's check what you've learned. Here is a vocabulary exercise to practice work-related words. You will complete each gap with the correct word. The first letter of each missing word is given in alphabetical order. Let me give you the first two as examples. A. I'm going to, and for that job I saw online. You need a work verb beginning with A. That's apply. I'm going to apply for that job I saw online. Or B. The person who tells you what to do at work is your B. A word beginning with B, that's boss. Now, ready to try the rest, yeah? Let's go through the alphabet. A. I'm going to apply for that job I saw online. B. The person who tells you what to do at work is your boss. C. I'm in charge of the sales department. D. We do training courses twice a year. E. My company has more than 90,000 employees around the world. F. My husband is a freelance journalist and works from home. G. A person who grows plants and flowers is a gardener. H. A hairdresser cuts your hair. I. You usually have an interview before a company decides if you get a job with them. J. It's what you don't have if you're an employed job. K. Chefs work in here, kitchen. L. A phrasal verb which means the same as search for, look for. M. Do you know anyone who's been made redundant recently? N. My partner works shifts. He works at night one week, then during the day the next. O. If you work more than your normal hours, you do overtime. P. It's an alternative to working full-time, but you work fewer hours. Part-time. Q. Another way of saying resign, quit. R. A verb which means when people stop working after the ages of 65 or 70. Retire. S. A person who works for him, herself is self-employed. T. It's the opposite of a permanent job, temporary. U. He decided to set up his own business last year. V. An animal doctor, vet. W. I work for an international company in central London. X. A small non-speaking job in a film has this letter in it. Extra. Y. My brother is in his second year of university and he loves it. Z. A person who works in a zoo and takes care of the animals. Zookeeper. Words with two meanings. Sometimes one word can have two completely different meanings. You already know this happens in your own language, yeah, right? English is no different. Look at the example. The word degree can mean a university qualification, yeah? Or a unit of temperature, like 20 degrees Celsius. Same word, two different meanings. Interesting, isn't it? Today you're going to practice this with 5 common words. Now look at the 5 pairs of sentences on your screen. Each pair uses the same word, like running, fired, work, market, or company, but the meaning changes in each sentence. Your task actually is very simple. Explain the difference in meaning between sentence A and sentence B in each pair. You can do it either by using simple English or translating into your native language. Try to guess what they mean, then we'll check it together. Okay, here we are. Listen and check. Running a business, managing a company. Running here is about being the leader or person in control. Running a marathon, doing the sport of running. Running here is about the physical activity of moving fast on your feet. Next, was fired, lost her job. In work language, fired means asked to leave your job, usually for a reason. Fired the gun, shot the gun. When talking about weapons, fired means pulled the trigger to shoot. Okay. A. I work in a shop. My job is in a shop. Here, work means the place or activity where you earn money. Doesn't work is broken. When talking about machines, work means function or operate correctly. Next is market for this product. Customers who want this product. In business, market means the group of possible buyers. And what about this sentence? Market where you buy vegetables. A physical place to shop. An everyday talk, a market is a building or area where you buy things like food. And set up a company. Started a business. Company means an organization that sells things or provides services. And good company, nice to be with. When describing a person, good company means they are friendly and pleasant to spend time with. Okay, that's all for this task. Learn this vocabulary and let's move on. Pronunciation and speaking word stress. In English, every word has a stressed syllable. That means one part of the word is louder and stronger than the other parts. Getting the stress right is very important. If you stress the wrong syllable, people might not understand you. And now look at the 10 words on your screen. These are all work-related words you have learned in this unit. Next to each word, you see phonetic symbols. The little mark that looks like this, like a little comma above a word, shows you which syllable is stressed. It always comes before the stressed syllable. Your first task is to underline the stressed syllable in each word. Use the phonetic symbols as your guide. For example, look at the word salary. The phonetic shows, you see it, that little comma above the word, it's at the very beginning of the word. The stress mark is before the first syllable, so you underline sa, like this, salary. Try to do the same for all 10 words. After you finish, you will listen to the audio to check your answers. Then practice saying each word out loud. Repeat after the audio, pay attention to the stress. Pause the video now and try. Remember, correct stress makes your English much clearer.
Eight 8.5. 1.
Apply.
2,
salary,
3,
redundant,
4,
experience,
5,
overtime,
6,
permanent,
7,
qualifications,
8,
resign,
9,
Responsible.
10.
temporary,
Speaking activity, finally talking about someone's job. Now it's time to use all the vocabulary you've learned in a speaking activity. Think about someone you know who has a job. Hopefully. It could be a family member, a friend, neighbor, or even a colleague. Choose someone whose work you know at least a little about. Get ready to answer these questions about that person's job. The questions cover many useful topics: their role, qualifications, type of contract, workplace hours, salary, and even their opinion about the job. Prepare your answers by making a few notes. After you prepare, you can practice speaking out loud, by yourself or with a partner if you have one. This is a great way to practice talking about work in English. Let's take a look at the questions. 1. What does he/she do? What qualification does he/she have? Is his/her job full-time or part-time, temporary or permanent? Where does he/she work? What hours does he/she work? Does he/she have to do overtime? Does he/she get a good salary? Does he/she like the job? Why or why not? Would you like to do his/her job? Why or why not? Okay, that sounds very nice. My example, I'll talk about my best friend. So, what does he do? He is an IT specialist. I'm not exactly sure about his day-to-day tasks, but I know he writes code, reviews other people's code, and works as a kind of part of a team on a big project. What qualifications does he have? As far as I know, he has a university degree related to IT and cybersecurity, but actually, most of his skills come from the many courses he took before landing his first job in the field. He's always learning new things. Is his job full-time or part-time, temporary or permanent? It's a full-time and permanent position. Where does he work? Actually, he works from home most of the time, but I think he has to go into the office at least once a week, probably. Next is, what hours does he work? He has a typical 9-to-5 schedule, but it's not always that simple, as you will see next. Because, does he have to do overtime? Yes, sometimes. When there are urgent tasks or big deadlines, he works extra hours, occasionally even at weekends. Does he get a good salary? Yes, he earns a very high salary. That's one of the good things about working in IT. Does he like the job? Why or why not? It's a mix. On one hand, the pay is great. The work is interesting. But on the other hand, there are a lot of problems in his team, there is constant pressure, sometimes he has to work at weekends, so it's not all perfect. Would you like to do his job? Why or why not? No, I wouldn't, definitely. The money is good, yes, of course, but I prefer something more creative. I couldn't work with numbers, code, or paperwork all day, just not for me. I need to do something with words, with ideas, with people, these things. Okay, now it's your turn. Pause the video, choose a person you know, a family member, a friend, someone whose job you can talk about. Take a few minutes to prepare your answers, make some notes, if that helps. And then, when you're ready, practice speaking out loud. Try to give full, detailed responses, not just, one-word answers. Use the vocabulary we've been practicing. Ready? Let's get started. I'm looking forward to hearing what you come up with. Grammar part, gerunds and infinitives, personality questionnaire. Whoa, in English we often use two different forms after verbs. The gerund, verb plus ing, like working, cooking, running, or the infinitive with to, like to work, to cook, to run. Knowing which one to use can be tricky, even for advanced learners. But don't worry, just practice. Your task. You see 16 sentences. Each one has a verb in brackets, like help or listen. Your task is to put that verb into the correct form, either the gerund, like helping, or the infinitive, with to, like to help. Read each sentence carefully. Think, should the verb end in ing or should I use to before it? This will test your natural feeling for English grammar. You might not know the rules yet, and that's okay. Just go with just go with what sounds right. Your intuition is often stronger than you think. So, go with what feels right. Match your personality to the job. 1. I'd like to work as part of a team. 2. I enjoy helping people with their problems. 3. I don't mind not earning a very large salary. 4. I'm good at listening to people. 5. I'm good at making quick decisions. 6. Taking risks doesn't worry me. 7. I'm happy to work by myself. 8. I'm not afraid of managing large amounts of money. 9. I'm good at expressing myself. 10. I always try to follow my instincts. 11. It's important for me to be creative. 12. I enjoy improvising. 13. Doing complex calculations is not difficult for me. 14. I enjoy solving logical problems. 15. I find it easy to understand theoretical principles. 16. I am able to calculate space and distance. Now activity B. Read the questionnaire and tick only the sentences that you strongly agree with. Discuss your answers with the partner. Okay, let me do it first. I'd like to work as part of a team. Disagree, that's definitely not for me. The fewer people I work with, the better. I am that kind of person. 2. I enjoy helping people with their problems. I'll tick this probably. I wouldn't say I really enjoy it, but it does give me some pleasure to hear thank you. Number 3. I don't mind not earning a very large salary. Disagree. I won't tick this because I do mind earning a fixed salary once a month. It's not for me. I'd rather manage my own finances, deciding how much I earn and when. Number 4. I'm good at listening to people. I agree, I think I'm a good listener. In fact, about 90% of my current job is just that. Listen carefully. 5. I'm good at making quick decisions. I disagree, quick decisions can be hard for me. I prefer to take my time, but I'm actually learning how to decide more quickly. 6. Taking risks doesn't worry me. I disagree. I don't mind taking risks, but I can't say it doesn't worry me at all. No. I'm happy to work by myself. Strongly agree. Yes, definitely, it's the best thing ever. You don't have to report to anyone. You just do your own thing and see the results. 8. I'm not afraid of managing large amounts of money. I disagree. Managing large sums makes me feel uncomfortable, of course, especially when it's not mine. Number 9. I'm good at expressing myself. Agree. Depends, but overall, yes, I'd tick it. 10. I always try to follow my instincts. Disagree. Logic and reasoning are far more important to me. Sometimes my heart tells me something important, and I do listen, but not always. 11. It's important for me to be creative. Strongly agree. Yes, definitely a tick for me. I enjoy improvising. Agree. I'd tick this. I don't know if I enjoy it exactly. I see it more as a skill. The more I improvise, the better I get, and it saves a lot of time. But a good plan is gold. I like improvising when I have a backup, anyway. Number 13. Doing complex calculations is not difficult for me. I disagree. No, I'm not good with numbers. Number 14. I enjoy solving logical problems. Disagree. Also not for me. 15. I find it easy to understand theoretical principles. I agree, it's not always easy, but I wouldn't call it difficult. I'd tick this. And finally, I'm able to calculate space and distance. Disagree. I mean, I can, but not in a complex or technical way, of course. Okay, and what I have? The most ticks I have in the group, 3. So let's read my results. If you have most ticks in 9, from 9 to kind of 12, you need a creative job. Depending on your specific talents, you might enjoy a job in the world of music, art, or literature. Areas that would suit you include publishing, journalism, graphic design, fashion, or the music industry. Yes, definitely it's for me. I'm happy when I do creative jobs. Now, I think, do this task and then read your own results and say whether you agree with it or don't. Try to be honest with yourself, by the way. Part D. Look at the sentences in the questionnaire. Complete the rules with a gerund or to plus infinitive. 1. After some verbs, for example, enjoy and don't mind, use After some verbs, for example, would like, use After adjectives, use After prepositions, use As the subject of a phrase or sentence, use Okay, now that you've completed the questionnaire, let's look at the grammar rules. This activity will help you understand why you choose ing or to plus verb in each sentence. Look back at the sentences you just filled in. Now you're going to complete 5 important rules. Each rule tells you when to use a gerund or when to use to plus infinitive. For example, After verbs like enjoy, do we say enjoy to help or enjoy helping? You'll figure it out by looking at the examples from the questionnaire, of course. Pause the video now, read each rule one more time carefully and write your answers. This is your key to using kind of gerunds and infinitives correctly in English. Let's go. Let's check your answers. 1. After some verbs, for example enjoy and don't mind, use the gerund. That simple verbs like enjoy, mind, like, hate and love are followed directly by an ing form, or the gerund. It's a simple rule to remember. For example, you say I enjoy helping and not I enjoy to help. Next, 2. After some verbs, for example would like, use to plus infinitive. Verbs that often express a wish, plan or decision, like would like, want, decide, plan, and need, are followed by the infinitive with to. For example, I'd like to work, and not I'd like working, no. Next is, after adjectives, use to plus infinitive. When you use an adjective to describe how you feel about an action, happy, easy, important, afraid, the action that follows is in the to plus infinitive form. Look at the examples. I'm happy to work. It's important to be creative. The adjective describes kind of your feeling about doing something. 4. After prepositions, use the gerund. In English, a preposition, for example, at, of, about, for, must always be followed by a noun. When the idea is an action, we use the ing form of the verb because it functions like a noun. For example, I'm good at listening. I'm not afraid of managing money. You cannot say good at to listen. It sounds weird. And finally, as a subject of a phrase or sentence, use the gerund. When an action itself is the main topic or doer of the sentence, we use the ing form. It acts as the subject noun. Look at the example from the questionnaire. Taking risks doesn't worry me. Here, taking risks is the subject of the sentence, so we use the gerund. Woohoo! And it was just a warming up. Yes, so I think you've warmed up enough. Now listen to the examples given here and try to translate there into your native language, or just try to get kind of a picture of what's going on.
8.6. 1.
I'm not very good at working in a team.
Katie's given up smoking.
2.
Looking for a job can be depressing.
Shopping is my favourite thing to do at weekends.
3.
I hate not being on time for things.
I don't mind getting up early.
8.7. 1.
My flat is very easy to find.
2.
Liam is saving money to buy a new car.
3.
My sister has never learned to drive.
Try not to make a noise.
8.8. 1.
I can't drive.
We must hurry.
2.
She always makes me laugh.
My parents didn't let me go out last night.
Okay, let's read it together. Choosing between gerunds and infinitives. First, gerund, verb plus ing. I'm not very good at working in a team. Katie's given up smoking. We use the gerund, verb plus ing after prepositions and phrasal verbs. Looking for a job can be depressing. Shopping is my favorite thing to do at weekends, as a subject of a sentence. And I hate not being on time for things. I don't mind getting up early. After some verbs, for example, hate and don't mind, we use a gerund. Common verbs which take the gerund include admit, avoid, deny, dislike, enjoy, feel like, finish, hate, keep, like, love, mind, miss, practice, prefer, recommend, spend time, stop, suggest, and some phrasal verbs, for example, give up, go on. Oh, scary, isn't it? The negative gerund, not plus verb plus ing. Next is like, love, and hate. In American English, like, love, and hate are followed by the infinitive with to. This is becoming more common in British English too. For example, I like to listen to music in the car. Or of course, you can say, I like listening to music in the car. So here it's not a big deal. Next part, the infinitive with to. My flat is very easy to find. After adjectives. Liam is saving money to buy a new car. To express a reason or purpose, to say why. My sister has never learned to drive. Try not to make a noise. After some verbs, for example, want, need, and learn. So, common verbs which take the infinitive include can't afford, can afford or can't afford to do something, maybe to buy. Agree, decide, expect, forget, help, hope, learn, need, offer, plan, pretend, promise, refuse, remember, seem, try, want, would like. More verbs take the infinitive than the gerund. The negative infinitive, not to plus verb. These common verbs can take either the infinitive or gerund with no difference in meaning. Start, begin, continue. So it started to rain, it started raining. You can use both versions. Start, begin, and continue. No difference. Next, verb plus person plus infinitive with to. We also use infinitive with to after some verbs plus person, for example, ask, tell, want, would like. Can you ask the manager to come? She told him not to worry. I want you to do this now. We'd really like you to come. Okay. And final part, the infinitive without to. I can't drive, we must hurry. So we use infinitive without to after most modal and auxiliary verbs. And to, she always makes me laugh. My parents didn't let me go out last night. After make and let. And final one, verbs that can take a gerund or an infinitive, but the meaning is different. Alert, try to be on time, make an effort to be on time. Try doing yoga, do it to see if you like it. Remember to phone him, don't forget to do it. I remember meeting him years ago, I have a memory of it. Oh, yeah, mind-blowing, yes? I know what you're thinking right now. Like, Mr. Teacher, these rules are great, but maybe let's read some more examples, just to make it easier to understand. I agree with you. Let's take each small section in this grammar part and see a lot of examples. Let's read some additional information. Section 1. Gerunds, verb plus ing. 1. After prepositions and phrasal verbs. A preposition is a word like for, about, at, in, of, after, and so on. A phrasal verb is a verb plus a word like up, off, on, and so on. So, examples. I'm afraid of losing my phone. She is good at drawing flowers. He left after saying goodbye. I think about going to Spain every year. They broke up arguing about money. 2. As the subject of a sentence, when the action is the main topic of the sentence. Cooking is fun. Traveling alone can be scary. Waiting for a bus takes a long time. Learning English is useful. Exercising every day is healthy. 3. After some verbs. Common verbs hate, don't mind, enjoy, finish, stop, keep, miss, suggest, and so on. There are a lot of them. I enjoy reading in bed. She finished cleaning the kitchen. We miss living near the beach. He kept talking during the movie. They suggested taking a taxi. 5. Negative gerunds, not plus verb plus ing. I enjoy not working on weekends. He suggested not going out in the rain. She regrets not studying harder. They are afraid of not finding a hotel. Not sleeping well is bad for your health. So negative gerunds, not plus verb plus ing. Section 2. Like, love, and hate. In American English, like, love, and hate are often followed by the infinitive to plus verb. This is common in British English too. It is not a mistake. I like to drink coffee in the morning. Or you can say I like drinking. She loves to dance salsa. Or you can say she loves dancing salsa. He hates to wait for people. You can say he hates waiting for people. They like to walk to work. Or you can say they like walking to work. We love to watch old movies. Or you can say we love watching old movies. Okay. Section 3. The infinitive with to plus verb. 1. After adjectives. This book is easy to read. He is happy to help. She was surprised to see me. The instructions are hard to follow. It is nice to meet you. 2. To express a reason or purpose why we do something. I called, why? To say hello. She went to the store, why? To buy milk. He studies hard, why? To pass the exam. They saved money, why? To travel. I'm writing, why? To ask for help. After some verbs. Common verbs want, need, learn, agree, decide, hope, plan, promise, try, and so on. There are many of them. I want to buy a new car. She needs to sleep more. He learned to play guitar. They agreed to help us. We decided to leave early. Negative infinitives. It's important, not to plus verb. I decided not to go to the party. She promised not to be late. He told me not to worry. They tried not to laugh. We agreed not to tell anyone. Next is verbs with no change in meaning. Start, begin, continue. It started to rain. It started raining. She began to sing. She began singing. He continued to talk. He continued talking. They started to walk. They started walking. We began to eat. We began eating. Okay, section 4. Verb plus person plus infinitive with to. We use this structure with verbs like ask, tell, want, would like. Can you ask her to call me? I told him to sit down. She wants me to help her. We would like you to stay. He asked them to wait outside. She told him not to open the door. I want you to be careful. They would like us to arrive early. Section 5. The infinitive without to, or base form. After modal and auxiliary verbs. Modal verbs like can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, might, must. You see, I can swim very fast. It's not like I can to swim or I can swimming. No, we use just base form. I can swim very fast. She must go now. You should eat more vegetables. We will arrive soon. He might call later. so modal verbs. And that's very important after make and let. See them as two exceptions, like wonderful words. You see, she made me laugh. Not to laugh, not laughing, she made me laugh. Just base form. He let her drive his car. Again, base form. They made us wait for an hour. My boss let me leave early. That movie makes me cry. His parents let him stay out late. After make and let, we use infinitive without to. It's not to laugh or laughing, to drive or driving, just laugh, drive, wait, leave, and so on. And finally, section 6, verbs with a change in meaning. That's a tricky one, because some verbs can take a gerund or infinitive, but the meaning changes. Let's see. Verb try, infinitive to. Try to be on time, like make an effort. Do it with an effort, try it. And gerund, it's like try doing yoga. Do it to see what happens, like test an idea. Just test it. Maybe it works, maybe it won't work. We don't know, just test it. Remember to lock the door. Don't forget to do it. I remember locking the door. I have a memory of it. I remember how I did it. Forget. I forgot to call her. I didn't do it. I will never forget meeting her. I have a strong memory. I remember this event. And finally, stop. He stopped to smoke. He stopped something else to smoke. So we stopped because we want to do something. He stopped to smoke. Here is he stopped smoking. He quit the habit, so he gave it up. He kind of doesn't smoke anymore. So he stopped smoking. He doesn't smoke anymore. He stopped to smoke. He just stopped to do it. Okay, some more examples, yeah? I tried to open the window, but it was stuck. I made an effort. I tried using a different key and it worked. I experimented, so I kind of used the idea. Please remember to buy milk. Don't forget. I remember visiting that museum as a child. I have a memory of it. I remember how I did it. She stopped to drink water. She paused to drink. She stopped drinking coffee last year. Kind of she quit. She doesn't do it anymore. So, okay. Those were a lot of examples. Now, let's move on and get some practice. And now I'm going to translate this for my Russian audience. Let's do it, guys. Так, теперь обо всем по-русски. Выбор между герундиями и инфинитивами. Давайте сразу обговорим. Когда я говорю слово герундий, представляем себе слово с инговым окончанием. То есть герундий равно working, smoking, shopping, being, getting, running и все. Любой глагол с инговым окончанием. Это у нас герундий. А когда я говорю слово инфинитив, мы сразу же себе представляем себе данную конструкцию, то есть to find, to buy, to drive, to go, там, to have и так далее. То есть еще раз, gerund, герундий с инговым окончанием, инфинитив — это глагол с частичкой to в начале. Так, соответственно, начнем мы с герундиев. Когда мы их используем? Мы их используем сначала после предлогов или фразовых глаголов. Вот, смотрите, good at working. Ну, это имеет смысл, потому что если мы скажем good at to work, как будто какое-то нагромождение происходит, вот эти два коротких слова, они не любят стоять рядом. Это очень тяжело выговорить. Поэтому, соответственно, в таких ситуациях после предлогов мы ставим инфинитив. То есть good at working, given up smoking. Дальше. Когда у нас действие является подлежащим, так, это слишком заморочено. Короче, когда мы хотим из глагола сделать существительное, то есть поиск, здесь уже не искать, а поиск работы может быть, то есть удручающим. Или, то есть имеется в виду shopping, мы используем это слово, но имеется в виду закупки, это моя любимая вещь, чтобы сделать на выходных. То есть это когда мы из действия делаем существительное. То есть здесь вот такой момент. И дальше, после некоторых глаголов, например, hate, don't mind, вот этот список просто он учится, то есть имеется в виду, что вот после вот этих вот глаголов admit, avoid, deny, dislike, enjoy, следующий глагол идет в инфинитиве, то есть admit, stealing, avoid being late, deny, не знаю, taking it, dislike, having breakfast и так далее. То есть после них мы используем инфинитив, это все заучивается. Дальше обязательно нужно посмотреть. У нас у инфинитива тоже есть отрицательная форма, то есть когда мы просто частичку not выставляем. Вот, например, I hate not being on time for things. То есть я ненавижу, когда я, то есть не вовремя, на какие-то встречи, собеседования и так далее. То есть спокойно можно его в отрицательный ставить. То есть, например, можно сказать I'm not, или так вот, I'm good at not working. То есть я очень хорош, когда не работаю. Или там остальные вещи. Ну ладно, это я уже шучу. Так, дальше. Про like, love and hate. Дело в том, что на самом деле вы можете использовать как и герундий после них, так и инфинитив после них. Но как бы герундий все еще считается предпочтительнее, особенно если вы какие-то экзамены сдаете и так далее. Лучше перестраховаться и на всякий случай там, говорить I like там, playing video games, I love walking in the parks и так далее. То есть все-таки лучше герундий, но инфинитив не возбраняется, пожалуйста. I like to listen to music in the car. И такие вещи иногда встречаются. Так, дальше. Собственно, инфинитив. Здесь такое ощущение, что попроще, потому что мы используем это после прилагательных. То есть my flat is very easy to find, мою квартиру легко найти. Сразу себе держите эту фразу, которую знают все. It is nice to meet you. Она как раз следует этому правилу. It is nice to meet you. То есть мы используем после прилагательных инфинитив. Да и вообще в целом my flat is very easy finding. Это как-то звучит странно на самом деле для уха. Так, дальше, чтобы выразить причину или цель. Когда мы просто говорим для чего. То есть часто спрашивают, типа, как сказать «чтобы»? Вот как раз сказать «чтобы» мы просто используем инфинитив. То есть Лим копит деньги, чтобы купить новую машину. Пожалуйста, тоже в этом случае используем. Ну и, конечно же, такая же петрушка, как с герундием, есть глаголы, после которых нам нужно ставить инфинитив, и это все дело учится. То есть want, need, learn. Это их мало, вот они все. То есть это у нас и afford позволить себе, и согласиться, и решить, и ожидать, и там forget, help, hope, learn, need, offer, plan, pretend, promise, refuse, remember, seem, try, want, would like. После них мы ставим to плюс инфинитив. То есть I can't afford to buy a new car. I agree, или как? I agree to help you. I have decided to quit the job. I expected you to be early today. Ну и так далее. Так, дальше. У нас тоже у инфинитива есть отрицательная форма. Мы так же, как в герундии, перед инфинитивом ставим частичку not. То есть, какой бы пример привести? То есть, I expect not to have it. Я ожидаю того, что у меня этого не будет. Или I promise not to lie. Обещаю не врать. То есть, так тоже можно говорить. Так, есть еще у нас некоторые глаголы start, begin, continue, они что-то вроде вот этих, которых мы рассматривали. Можно здесь и инфинитив, и герундий ставить, значение не меняется. Пожалуйста, так, хотите, можно start to rain, start raining, begin to drink coffee, begin drinking coffee и так далее. Здесь без разницы. Так, очень зачастую, ну что же я такое сказал? Ладно, есть такая структура, конструкция, она называется глагол плюс человек и плюс infinitives to. Она как у нас звучит? То есть можете ли вы попросить менеджера прийти? Она сказала ему не волноваться. Я хочу, чтобы ты сделал это сейчас. Мы хотели бы, чтобы ты пришел. То есть в таких конструкциях тоже infinitive with to, оно очень даже гармонично сюда как бы заходит и звучит. Инфинитив я бы даже не поставил. То есть can you ask the manager coming? Но оно даже не звучит. Или мне так кажется. Так. Это легенькое. Теперь по поводу то, что я иногда называю base form, то есть именно вот форма глагола, как она есть, без частички to. Это мы используем в двух случаях. После модалок и некоторых вспомогательных глаголах. Ну, модалки я перечислял в прошлой секции, когда давал вам кучу примеров. Там вот это must, should, can, could и так далее. После модалок мы используем вот глагол, как он есть. Без частички to, не герундий. Ну, я думаю, как-то это правило уже на автомате. А вот это Обратим внимание на это прям. Make и let. Два глагола, они некие исключения. Дело в том, что после них мы используем слово и без частички to, и не герундий, то есть she. Она всегда заставляет меня смеяться. Мои родители не позволили мне пойти на улицу вот прошлым вечером или там выбраться куда-нибудь. Здесь у нас после make и после let у нас идет вот слово, как оно есть. Здесь такой момент. Они очень часто в упражнениях будут встречаться, поэтому обращаем на это внимание. А вот здесь вот такая веселая штука. На самом деле это не весь список. Там я, кстати, давал чуть-чуть побольше. Дело в том, что у нас есть глаголы, после которых может быть герундий или инфинитив, но значение будет немножко отличаться. Вот это вот многим, так сказать, ну, не очень понятная ситуация с try. Дело в том, что try to do, нам более это привычно, да мы его, в принципе, изучали ранее именно в такой конструкции с инфинитивом. Это сделать усилие, чтобы что-то сделать, то есть приложить усилия. Try to be on time. То есть, пожалуйста, постарайся быть вовремя, приложи к этому все усилия. А вот try плюс инговое, это скорее протестируй идею. Try doing yoga. Ну, типа, ну, попробуй заняться йогой. Может, получится, может, нет. Мы не говорим там try to do yoga. То есть, имеется в виду, там, приложи все усилия. Нет, попробуй эту идею. Там, я не знаю, try using another key. Попробуй использовать другой ключ. Здесь идет не про усилия, а про то, что, ну, протестируй эту вещь. То есть, сработает, не сработает. То есть, еще раз, вот это вот про усилия, а это про просто протестировать идею. Так, а вот это здесь, remember to phone him, мы так на самом деле не говорим, помни, чтобы позвонить ему. Мы скорее это говорим сразу же, не забудь это сделать. То есть, в принципе, вот эту вещь, remember to phone him, и можно переводить как не забудь ему позвонить. Нам более привычно звучит. Так, а вот I remember meeting him years ago, когда мы здесь ставим герундий, это означает, что мы помним этот момент. У нас есть это в памяти. То есть I have a memory of it, у меня где-то это есть в памяти. То есть remember to phone him, позвони ему, не забудь. Пожалуйста, не забудь позвонить. I remember meeting him years ago, я помню, как встретил его, то есть когда-то давно, годы назад. То есть вот такие вот правила. Ну что ж, в принципе, информации и так слишком много, она несложная, теперь ее нужно отработать на упражнениях. Давайте, собственно, к ним и переходить. Okay, there are two exercises for you. Let's go through them step by step. Exercise A, choose the correct form. In this exercise, you will see 10 sentences. In each one, you need to choose the correct form of the verb. Should it be the gerund, verb plus ing, the to plus infinitive, or sometimes the base form? Use the rules you just studied to help you decide. Look at the first example to see how it works. I am in charge of recruiting to recruit. What's the clue? The preposition of is your hint. After prepositions, we use a gerund. So the correct answer is recruiting. I'm in charge of recruiting. Now it's your turn. For each sentence, circle or write down the correct option. Take your time, use your intuition and the rules we discussed. But part B, let's discuss it as well. Now let's take a look at the slightly more challenging activity. Here you will complete each sentence using one of the verbs from the list. But you need to put the verb in the correct form, infinitive, gerund, or base form. You will need to think about the verb or expression that comes before the gap. For example, my parents are planning, and do we use what? Planning to retire or planning retiring? After planning, we use the infinitive with to. So actually the correct answer is to retire. Here are the verbs you have to work with. Not buy, commute, do, leave, lock, not make, retire, set up, wear, not worry. Your task: read each sentence carefully, choose the correct verb from the list and put it in the right form. Write the complete sentences in your notebook or do it orally. Pause the video now and let's go. Now let's start checking. Circle the correct form. I'm in charge of preposition, recruiting new staff. After prepositions, we use gerund. Okay. 1. It's important for me. It's important for me. It's an adjective. Here we use to spend time with my family. We use to plus infinitive with adjectives. Applying to university abroad can be complicated. It is the subject of the sentence. It's not like apply to go. I mean, applying to go to university abroad can be complicated. Applying to go to university abroad, it's the subject here. It's like it. It can be complicated. Applying to go to university abroad can be complicated. So here we use gerund. I want to do or doing. After want, we use to plus infinitive. It's just the rule. So I want to do my shopping this morning. My boss wants a new office. Again, after want, we use to plus infinitive. My boss wants to open a new office. It's kind of the same. Be careful. It's an adjective. Careful. So after adjectives, we use not plus infinitive. Or not plus infinitive, what I'm talking about. I mean infinitive plus to. Be careful not to ask her about her boyfriend. They've split up. So be careful not to do it. Next is, we went on working or to work until we finished. Here is a phrasal verb, go on. So with some phrasal verbs, after prepositions, we use gerund. We went on working. Next is, Dave is very good at preposition at solving problems. You see, he's very good at to solve problems. Add to together, I think it's even difficult to pronounce. 8. The best thing about weekends is not going to work or not to go to work. Here we have action as a noun. So what is it? Is not going to work. So kind of object of the sentence here. The best thing about weekends is not going to work. Layla gave up modeling. After give up, after phrasal verbs, we use gerunds. When she had a baby. I went on a training course. To what? So what is the purpose? Why? In this case, we use to plus infinitive to say why. I went on a training course to... Oh my god, what's... okay, to learn. Here it was a tricky one because it's like and to and gerund together. It's not correct at all. So I went on a training course to learn about the new software. Okay, now I'm going to read the answer keys. I'm in charge of recruiting new staff. It's important for me to spend time with my family. Applying to go to university abroad can be complicated. I want to do my shopping this morning. My boss wants to open a new office. Be careful not to ask her about her boyfriend. They've split up. We went on working until we finished. Dave is very good at solving problems. The best thing about weekends is not going to work. Not going to work, yeah. Layla gave up modeling when she had a baby. I went on a training course to learn about the new software. Okay, moving on to part B. Complete with the verb in the list in the correct form. Okay, let me do it like this. I think it will be easier to do. So, not by, commute, do. So, the thing we need, it's the context and the word out of this list. Let's see. I'd like to set up my own company. My parents are planning to... Maybe they're planning to retire. Yes, retire. My parents are planning to retire before they are 65. Rob spends 3 hours doing something, yeah, to work and back every day, commuting. This verb we use when we say that we Go to work and back to work, it's commute. Or like go to university and back from university, and this journey every day we call it commute. So Rob spends 3 hours commuting to work and back every day. But why? I'm surprised, because actually my brother spends about 4 hours commuting to work and back every day. Poor guy. Okay, Mark and his wife agreed to about the problems he had at work. Not to worry. Maybe Mark and his wife agreed to talk, not to buy, to wear. I think not to worry. Okay, here is after agree, we use to plus infinitive. And here is a negative infinitive. Mark and his wife agreed not to worry about the problems he had at work. Okay, 4. Did you remember the door? I think it's like, didn't you forget to do it? Like, did you remember to lock the door? I hope it is locked now. In the end, I decided. Of course, after decide, we use to plus infinitive. The shoes, because they were very expensive. I think I decided not to buy. I decided not to buy the shoes because they were very expensive. The manager lets us... Here we go. Let. After it, we use infinitive without to. Work early on Fridays. I think leave. The manager lets us just leave. It's not to leave or leaving. It is infinitive without to. Let and make. Yeah? The manager lets us leave work early on Fridays. All employees must. Musts, it's a modal verb. So again, the same case as the 6th one. So, must a jacket and tie at work. Wear. So all employees must wear. It's not like to wear or wearing. After modal verbs, we use infinitive without to. Please try any more mistakes in the report. Okay, it's like make an effort. Please make an effort. Please try not to make. It's not like test this idea. Try not making any more mistakes. Maybe it will work. No, it's not the case. Please try not to make. Put some efforts in it. And I don't mind overtime during the week. Maybe working. Retire, commute, wearing, not worry, not buy, sorry. I don't mind doing overtime during the week. Look, after mind, don't mind doing something. I don't mind cleaning the windows. I don't mind eating sushi and something like that. We express like, we don't like it maybe, but we don't hate it. So it's completely okay to do something. I don't mind doing overtime during the week. Okay, now let's read on the answer keys. I'd like to set up my own company. My parents are planning to retire before they are 65. Rob spends 3 hours commuting to work and back every day. Mark and his wife agreed not to worry about the problems he had at work. Did you remember to lock the door? In the end, I decided not to buy the shoes because they were very expensive. The manager lets us leave work early on Fridays. All employees must wear a jacket and tie at work. Please try not to make any more mistakes in the report. I don't mind doing overtime during the week. Okay, here we go. If you feel like it's not enough, so it's completely okay, because we have some extra exercises that we are moving on to. So let's do more. Okay, extra practice. Complete the sentences with the correct form of the verbs in brackets. Use the gerund, the infinitive with to, or the infinitive without to. Write your answers in the column on the right. I think it would be very stressful to run your own business, because after adjectives we use infinitives with to. So do the rest of it and check yourself. 1. I think it would be very stressful to run your own business. 2. I'm really busy right now. Would you mind calling me back in about 5 minutes? 3. My boss told me she wanted to speak to me in her office. 4. We decided not to buy her a birthday present because we weren't sure what she wanted. We just gave her some money. 5. Have you ever thought of going back to live in Edinburgh, or are you happy in London? 6. My neighbor offered to look after my children while I went shopping. 7. Emily's parents aren't strict enough with her. They let her do whatever she likes. 8. Doing overtime is exhausting. Last night, I finished work at 9 o'clock and I started again this morning at 8. 9. My parents would like me to study medicine. 10. I think Jessica should study architecture. She's very good at drawing. 11. Do you think you'd like to work with children, or would you find it too stressful? 12. If they can save enough money, they're hoping to go to Miami for their honeymoon. 13. Have you ever thought about doing yoga or Pilates? They're very good if you have problems with your back. 14. I was really surprised to hear that Lucy and Adam have separated. I thought that they were very happy. 15. Are you going to go on studying English here next year? 16. Toby was sacked because he kept arriving late for work. 17. I don't really feel like cooking tonight. Let's go out for dinner. 18. Josh pretended to like the shirt his granny had bought him, but really he thought it was horrible. 19. Eating late at night always makes me sleep badly. 20. Angela asked her brother to give her a lift into town. Okay, now write something for 5 of the things in the list. No, let's do everything. Let's do all of them. Sorry. I'll do it first, then it will be your turn. Just just say something what you think. Something you're planning to do in the summer. I'm planning to be more physically active, first of all. This summer I want to try out different sports, like maybe cycling, maybe even rock climbing, and so on. I just want to be more active. A country you'd like to visit in the future. I'd love to visit Germany someday. I'd like to improve my German by living there for about, 3 months maybe, while taking an intensive language course. Next. Somebody you wouldn't like to go on holiday with. There are actually a few friends I wouldn't want to travel with. I prefer calm and relaxing holidays without unnecessary adventures, especially the kind you can easily avoid. A job you'd love to do. As I mentioned earlier, I would really love to kind of voice audiobooks or write books, maybe even text books one day, I don't know, something of this sort. A job you hate doing in the house. I absolutely hate washing windows. It always feels a bit dangerous and it's hard to get them perfectly clean. Okay. Somebody you find very easy to talk to. Honestly, I don't find anyone particularly difficult to talk to. I think most people I know are quite easy to have a conversation with. Something you're afraid of doing. I'm afraid of flying. Yeah, I've read countless articles about how safe it is, but it still feels like a nerve-wracking experience every time. When I think about it, because I have never flown in my life. Okay, a sport activity or hobby you love doing. I love working out with kettlebells, or exercising with friends. Actually, it's a great way to get fit, socialize, and have fun at the same time. Something you enjoy doing on Sunday mornings. I really enjoy eating a big breakfast on Sunday mornings. I have a lot of lessons back to back, so I need plenty of energy to last through the day. And something you must do or buy urgently. I really need to buy a new vacuum cleaner. My old one has started acting up and kind of doesn't work well anymore, so I think this thing. Okay, now it will be your turn. Do the same things, but about yourself. Okay, this is the writing part. You are going to learn how to write a formal covering email to apply for a job. First, look at this job advertisement. It's for different roles at a major international sporting event, the World Athletics Championships. Read the 4 jobs areas carefully. Pause the video and think. Which job could you apply for based on your skills or interests? This is your first step. Okay, now let's look at a model email. Ricardo wants to apply for one of these jobs and is sending his CV. Look at his covering email. In sentences 1 to 6, you'll see 2 options. Your task is to read and circle the best phrase in each pair. Think about which option is more formal and professional. This will teach you the right style to use in a job application. Pause the video now and make your choices. Okay, let's see. Number 1, I am writing. In formal writing, it is standard to avoid contractions. Shortened forms like I'm, don't, can't. Using the full form I am makes the email sound more professional and polite. 2, I have been working instead of I've been working. Actually, the same rule about contractions applies here. Using the full present perfect continuous form I have been maintains a formal tone, while I've been is conversational and informal. 3, I speak English very well instead of my English is great. In a formal context, it's better to state your language ability clearly and professionally. My English is great sounds too casual and subjective. I speak English very well, level C1 is a precise, objective, and appropriately formal statement of fact. 4, attach instead of enclose. Okay, when sending a document by email, the correct term is attach. The word enclose is used specifically for physical letters sent by post, where you literally put a document inside an envelope. Okay, so this reason. Number 5, I look forward to hearing from you instead of hope to hear from you soon. This is a set formal closing phrase. I look forward to hearing from you is polite and professional. The alternative, hope to hear, is missing the subject I, uses a contraction style verb hope, and includes an exclamation mark, all of which are too informal for a job application. And finally, yours faithfully instead of yours sincerely. Okay, there is a rule. Use yours faithfully when you start the email with Dear Sir or Dear Madam when you don't know the person's name, and use yours sincerely when you start with Dear Mr. or Mrs. when you do know the name. Since Ricardo starts with Dear Sir or Madam, the correct formal closing is yours faithfully. That's a strange one, I understand, but it is what it is. Okay, now it's your turn to write. You're going to write your own covering email to apply for a job at the World Athletics Championships. Choose one of the jobs from the advertisement. Use Ricardo's email and the formal email box as your guides. Pay close attention to the formal style, the correct openings and closings, and don't use contractions. So use do not instead of don't, I am not instead of I'm not, and so on. Then plan what you want to say about your skills and experience first. Pause the video and write your email in your notebook. But remember, as always, all writing tasks are optional. If you feel like doing it, that's great. If you don't want to write anything, you feel it's not necessary for you, just skip it and go ahead. Okay, vocabulary for reading. To make your experience less difficult, less painful actually, you should work with the following words and phrases. Dragon, den, similar, successful or failure, intimidating room, contestants, in return, in exchange. They take a share in the profits. Entrepreneurs, to make a pitch, convinced, dreaded words. So far, the straps and watch faces. Interchangeable, untangling hair, ridiculous idea, pendants and rings. Carry on doing something. The idea never took off. Unanimously, entirely. Okay, that's lots of vocabulary. Try at least to understand what it means or what it could mean in the following context, so work with it. So, reading section. In this part, you're going to read about a very popular TV show from the UK called Dragon's Den. Let's get started. Activity A, read and answer. First, read the introductory article on your screen. It explains what the show is about. Your task is to answer 3 questions. Who are the dragons? Where does the show happen? How does the program work? Also, think about 4th question. Is there a similar show in your country? Read carefully, pause the video and write down your answers. This will help you understand the context for the next activity. In the Dragon's Den. Dragon's Den is a UK TV series with similar versions in many different countries, which has been on TV every year seen the original show in 2005. In the UK program, contestants had 3 minutes to present their ideas for a product or service to 5 very successful business people. These people are nicknamed the Dragons, and the intimidating room where they meet the contestants is the den. The Dragons, who are multimillionaires, are prepared to invest money in any business that they believe might be a success. In return, they take a share in the profits. The contestants are usually young entrepreneurs, product designers, or people with a new idea for a product or a service. They have 3 minutes to make their pitch. Then the Dragons ask them questions about it and its possible market. Finally, the Dragons say if they are prepared to invest or not. If they are not convinced by the presentation, they say the dreaded words, "I'm out." So far, the Dragons have agreed to invest in more than 250 businesses. Okay, let's check your answers. Who are the Dragons? The Dragons are 5 multimillionaires who have made their fortunes, and have lots of money, through business. The text directly states, these people are nicknamed the Dragons. The Dragons who are multimillionaires. So they're not just rich people. They're specifically business people who have built their own wealth through hard work and smart decisions. Number 2. Where do the contestants meet them? They meet them in the den, the room where the program is filmed. The article explains, the intimidating room where they meet the contestants is the den. So, the meeting place has a special name within the show. It's not just any room, it's the den. How does the program work? Oh, here is the process. The contestants present their product to the Dragons in 3 minutes. Then the Dragons ask them questions about the business. Finally, the Dragons decide whether or not to invest in the contestants' businesses. If they decide not to invest, they say the famous phrase, "I'm out." So, in summary, 3-minute presentation, questions, decision, and the catchphrase, "I'm out." And what about question number 4? Is there a similar show in your country? Think about your own country. Many countries have their own version of Dragon's Den. In the US, it's called Shark Tank. In other countries, it might have a different name. Is there one where you live? I don't know. Okay, activity B. Let's look at 3 real products that were presented on the show. Look at the photos and read the short descriptions for Tingatang, Slappy Watches, the Tangle Teaser. Your job is to make a prediction. For each product, you need to decide. 1. Which product do you think the Dragons invested in and it became successful? 2. Which product do you think they didn't invest in and it failed? And which product do you think they refused to invest in, but it still became a huge success? Pause the video and make your guesses and read and check. Tingatang. Jean and Claire from Leeds, in the north of England, designed Tingatang, a range of silver jewelry for men and women to show that they are single, in the same way that a wedding ring shows that they are married. The pair asked the Dragons to invest £500,000 in their business. Slappy Watches. David from Birmingham asked the Dragons for £50,000 in exchange for 25% of his watch company, Slappy. The watches, which cost under £20, are on straps of many different colors, and the watch faces are also available in different designs. The straps and watch faces can be bought separately and are interchangeable, so you can create your own watch. Tangle Teaser. Sean, a hairdresser from London, set up a company to produce brightly colored plastic hairbrushes, which were especially good at untangling hair. He demonstrated the brushes on the show and asked for an £80,000 investment in exchange for 15% of his company. Ting-a-tang. The dragons quickly decided that they didn't like the idea. Comments included, "I immediately don't like it," and the best place for you to start is by giving up this ridiculous idea. So they didn't invest anything. Jill and Sarah didn't give up and carried on selling their pendants and rings at singles clubs and on dating websites. But the idea never really took off, and the jewelry is no longer available. Slappy watches. Two of the dragons were prepared to give David the money he wanted, although only in exchange for 45% of the company. David decided to accept Dragon Nick Jenkins' offer. Minutes after the program was broadcast, Slappy's website crashed because it was unable to cope with the insane numbers of people trying to buy watches. Since then, the company has grown and Slappy watches are now available on many different websites, including Amazon. Tangle teaser. The dragons listened patiently to Sean's speech, but when it came to investing in his business, they responded unanimously, "I'm out." One dragon called it a waste of time, and Deborah Meaden said it was like a horse brush. However, they were wrong. The brushes are now sold all over the world and have revolutionized the hairdressing industry. A few years after his Dragon's Den appearance, Sean sold the company for over £100 million. And, as he owned it entirely himself, he was the one who enjoyed the profits. So, anyway, let's sum everything up. Number 1. The product the dragons invested in and has been successful. Slappy watches. The text says that David, the creator, accepted an offer from a dragon named Nick Jenkins. After the show, their website crashed because too many people tried to buy the watches. It's a good problem to have. Now the watches are sold on many websites, so yes, the dragons did invest in the product is a success. Number 2. The product the dragons didn't invest in and has been a failure. Ting-a-tang. The text says the dragons said no and did not give any money. Later, it says the idea never became popular. You cannot buy the jewelry anymore. So no investment, no success, a double loss. And number 3. The product the dragons didn't invest in but has been very successful, Tangled Teaser. This is an interesting one. The text clearly says, all the dragons said, "I'm out," and refused to invest. They thought it was a bad idea, but they were wrong. The story tells us that the brushes are now sold everywhere in the world. Millions of them. The owner later sold the company for over £100 million. So no investment from the dragons, but huge success anyway. A great example of the dragons making a mistake. Okay, how did your predictions compare? Did you guess correctly? Sometimes the dragons get it right, sometimes they get it very, very wrong. That's what makes the show so interesting. Okay, now I'm going to translate all texts from the reading part. Ну и теперь к переводам. Да, тексты они сами по себе небольшие, но все же давайте посмотрим. Первый у нас Ting-a-tang, вот эта вот штука. У нас Jill и Claire из Лидса, это у нас на севере Англии, город такой. Designed – это разработали. То есть дизайн – это разработали, спроектировали Ting-a-tang. Range в этом контексте это можно перевести как коллекцию, то есть это какие-то разнообразные, либо разнообразные, либо коллекцию серебряных украшений для мужчин и женщин, чтобы показать, что они, single имеется в виду одинокий, то, что у них нет партнера. И тем же самым способом, который свадебное кольцо как раз показывает, что ты, получается, женат или замужем. В английском это одно и то же, married. Пара попросила драконов, получается, инвестировать 500 тысяч фунтов в их бизнес. Это у нас Тинга-Танг. Дальше. Slappy Watches. Вот такие вот штуки. Дэвид из Бирмингема попросил драконов 50 тысяч фунтов в обмен на 25% его, то есть вот эти часовой компании Slappy. То есть эти часы, которые стоят, ниже, чем... анда здесь это ниже, чем 20 фунтов. Они у нас на, получается, резиночках, straps, то есть straps на вот этих вот ремешках, да, на ремешках, которые идут во множестве разных цветов. И, получается, вот эти watch faces, не знаю, циферблаты пусть будут, вот эта вот часть, watch faces, так, где это у нас? Также доступны в разных дизайнах, то есть, в разных дизайнах. Ремешки и вот эти вот лица часов могут быть куплены separately, то есть отдельно. То есть они могут покупаться отдельно. И interchangeable, вот такое длинное слово, это взаимозаменяемые. То есть их можно менять как угодно. И вот таким образом вы можете создать свои собственные часы. Это у нас Slappy Watches. Дальше у нас Tangle Teaser. Такая вот штука, такая вот расческа. Шон, парикмахер из Лондона, то есть создал компанию, чтобы производить такие вот ярко-цветные пластиковые расчески, которые были особенно хороши в распутывании волос. То есть untangling, распутать волосы. Он продемонстрировал эти самые расчески на шоу и попросил где-то 80 тысяч фунтов инвестиций в обмен на 15% его компании. Так, это были такие у нас сетапы. Теперь продолжение. Начнем с Тинга-Танг. Так, драконы быстро решили, что им эта идея не понравилась. Комментарии включали в себя, то есть мне это сразу же не нравится. Или самое лучшее место для вас, это с которого начать, то есть отказаться от этой глупой затеи, этой идиотской идеи. Поэтому они не инвестировали ничего. Джилл и Сара не сдались, то есть не отказывались от этой идеи и продолжили, то есть продолжили продавать их, случается, подвески и кольца, в клубах для знакомств, соответственно, или на сайтах для знакомств. Но идея никогда не взлетела, то есть имеется в виду, да, дословно, идея никогда не взлетела, то есть не получила успеха, и украшения, is no longer available, теперь недоступны, то есть их нигде нельзя купить, получить. Теперь Slappy Watches, продолжение. 2 дракона были готовы дать Дэвиду деньги, которые он хотел, несмотря на только лишь в обмен на 45% его компании. Все-таки у них было такое условие. Дэвид все-таки решил принять предложение дракона Ника Дженкинса. Offer это предложение, это тут, получается, Dragon Nick Jenkins, то есть вот его, этого человека, предложение. Минутами позже программа... спустя минуты после того, как программа, протранслировалась, была так, то есть ее показали, веб-сайт Slappy, то есть просто сломался, потому что unable to, то есть он не мог справиться, cope with, это справиться с, то есть безумным числом людей, которые пытались купить эти часы. И с тех пор компания, то есть, выросла, и Slappy Watches, то есть вот эти вот часы, теперь доступны во многих разных странах, во многих разных веб-сайтах, включая Amazon. И заключительно Tangle Teaser. Драконы послушали внимательно, то есть презентацию Шона, но когда дело дошло до инвестирования в его бизнес, они ответили unanimously, то есть единогласно здесь. Единогласно, I'm out, то есть все вышли. Один дракон назвал это пустой тратой времени, а Дебора Миден сказала, что это похоже на, то есть, расческу для лошадей. Однако они ошибались, they were wrong. То есть расчески теперь продаются по всему миру и просто произвели революцию в индустрии, получается, бьюти-индустрии или этих парикмахерских. И несколькими годами позже, после этой программы, после появления в этой программе, Шон продал компанию за более чем $100 миллионов. И поскольку он владел всей компанией полностью сам, то есть entirely полностью самостоятельно, он был тот самый человек, то есть the one, тот самый человек, который насладился the profits, то есть прибылями, то есть всем тем, что компания заработала. Ну, вот такая вот история о 3 продуктах. Ну, надеюсь, стало немножечко понятнее, слова кое-какие стали. Разобрали, точнее, эти слова, теперь давайте идти дальше. Great, now that you know the real stories, let's talk about your opinion. Think about the 3 products you just read about. Tingatang, the personalized jewelry. Slappy watches, the colorful customizable watches. And Tangle Teaser, the detangling hairbrush. Here are your questions. Take a moment to think about each one. Question 1. Which product would you be interested in buying? Or which one would you definitely not want to buy? Tell us why. Think like a customer. Which of these products appeals to you? Which one seems useful, fun, or interesting? And which one would you never buy? For example, would you buy a Tangle Teaser if you have long or curly hair? Would you buy a Slappy watch as a gift for a teenager? Would you buy Tingatang jewelry for yourself or someone special? Or maybe none of them interest you. That's fine too, just explain why. And question 2. Do you think these products could be successful in your own country? Why or why not? Now think like a business person. Imagine these products were sold in your country. Would people buy them? Is there a market for personalized jewelry, for colorful watches, for special hairbrushes? Are there similar products already available? Would the price matter? For each product, decide successful or not successful and give your reasons. So this is your chance to think like a customer and a business person. There are no wrong answers, just give your honest opinion and reasons. Pause the video now, prepare your thoughts, and then say them out loud. If you have a partner, discuss it together. Ready? Let's hear what you think. Okay, before you do this listening part, let's take a look at some vocabulary from the audio scripts that can be helpful. Okay, for their turn. Waiting to go on. Compared to. Appearance. Word for word. In advance. Exhausted. Spend ages. In that particular program. Escort. A big chain of camera shops. Online printing and photo framing. Stayed silent. Eventually. Again, just work with this vocabulary before we dive into this part. Okay, finally, welcome to the listening part. Look at the photo of Joe and Jake on your screen. They were contestants on Dragon's Den with their photo framing business. Before you listen, let's make a prediction. Based on their photo and the product, do you think they were successful with the dragons? Make a quick guess in your mind. Activity B. Now let's listen to part 1 of an interview with Joe. Listen carefully and decide if the 8 sentences on your screen are true or false. Here are the sentences. Joe and Jake applied to be on Dragon's Den together. They prepared their pitch or their presentation very quickly. The show was filmed in Manchester. They didn't do any preparation the night before. They only slept for a few hours the night before the program. They were the third contestants on that program. Other contestants waited for up to 12 hours for their turn. They met one of the dragons while they were waiting to go on, kind of to start. Okay, ready? Listen and do this activity.
8.9. Part 1.
Whose idea was it to go on the programme?
It was my idea. I applied without telling my business partner Jake. Of course, I never really expected to get on it. But then they phoned me from the BBC and said, "You're on the programme." So that's when I told him.
Did you spend a long time preparing your pitch?
Yes. We worked really hard and we practiced a lot so that we knew the pitch word for word. The evening before the show, we actually went for a run up in Manchester where it's filmed, and we went running together just repeating the pitch over and over again.
How did you feel when you arrived at the den?
Well, we were told to get to the set at about 11 o'clock the night before because you had to prepare everything in advance, like any furniture you need, things like that. It was freezing cold and we were exhausted. We didn't get back to our hotel until the middle of the night, and a car came to pick us up a few hours later at 5:30 in the morning.
What time did you actually do your pitch?
11:30. So we were lucky because we were the first in that particular programme.
Why lucky?
Because we didn't have to wait too long. The other contestants spent ages just waiting around. Some of them, the ones who were on last, had to wait 12 hours.
Did you meet the dragons before you went in to do the pitch?
No, you're not allowed to. Like, if you go to the toilet before you go on, someone has to escort you in case you meet a dragon. So the first time you see them is when you go into the den.
Okay, now let's go through each sentence. For the false ones, we'll correct them and explain why they were false. 1. Joe and Jake applied to be on Dragon's Den together. It's false. Joe says in the interview, "It was my idea. I applied without telling my business partner Jake." So they did not apply together. Joe applied alone without telling Jake. 2. They prepared their pitch very quickly. It's false. Joe says, "We worked really hard and we practiced a lot, so that we knew the pitch word for word." So they prepared hard, not quickly. They practiced until they knew it perfectly. 3. The show was filmed in Manchester. Just true. Joe confirms up in Manchester where it's filmed. So this one is correct. They didn't do any preparation the night before. It's false. Joe explains 2 things they did the night before. First, they practiced their pitch during a run. We actually went for a run, repeating the pitch over and over again. Second, they prepared furniture on the set. You had to prepare everything in advance, like any furniture you need. So they did prepare a lot. 5. They only slept for a few hours the night before the program. It's true. Joe explains they finished preparing in the middle of the night, and then a car picked them up a few hours later at 5:30 in the morning. That means only a few hours of sleep, correct. 6. They were the third contestants in that program. It's false. Joe says they were the first in that particular program, so they were first, not third. 7. Other contestants waited for up to 12 hours for their turn. It's true. Joe explains some of them, the ones who were on last, had to wait 12 hours. So yes, up to 12 hours. 8. They met one of the dragons while they were waiting to go on. It's completely false. Joe says clearly, you're not allowed to meet the dragons. He gives an example about going to the toilet with an escort to prevent accidentally meeting a dragon. So they did not meet any dragons while waiting. Okay, those were the answers. Now let's continue with part 2 of the interview. Listen carefully and answer this main question. What was different about Joe and Jake's experience compared to other contestants? This was something very unusual on the show. Listen for what made their experience unique.
8.10. Part 2.
What were the dragons like?
Well, they're obviously told by the producers to be really unfriendly and aggressive. So I remember thinking, when the doors opened and we walked in, what I wanted to do was just to smile at one of them. That was my way of making myself relaxed. And I looked at Deborah Meaden, because she was in the middle, and I smiled at her. But she just, stared at me, stony-faced, to make me feel nervous. And it worked.
Did you think you did a good presentation?
Yeah, we did. But Jake, he usually never gets anything wrong. He forgot his first words, and he just never does that. So we both thought when he got the introduction wrong that it was going to go badly, but it didn't.
So what happened after you'd done your pitch?
Yeah, well, 4 of the dragons said, "I'm out." They said they weren't interested. So we were feeling pretty depressed, pretty negative.
And then?
The last dragon was Peter, and he's quite scary. He's incredibly tall, over 2 meters. And at first, he really criticised us. But then he told us he had a big chain of camera shops called Jessup's, and they were starting online printing and photo framing as part of their business. And then he said, "I've got 15 guys in Hong Kong trying to do what you guys are doing, but you guys are doing it better. I'm going to offer you both a job."
Were you very surprised?
Totally, because it had never happened on Dragon's Den before. In 10 years, they'd never offered someone a job.
So he offered you jobs just like that?
Well, his offer was that he wanted to have our business and for us to work with him at Jessup's.
With a good salary?
Very.
So what did you do?
So, what was different? They were offered a job, not investment in their business. Here is what happened. After their pitch, one of the dragons, Peter Jones, criticized them. But then Peter said he had a company called Jessup's that needed their service. And then he told them, "I'm going to offer you both a job." Now, the typical result on Dragon's Den is that the dragons offer money, investment, for a share of the contestant's company. But in this case, Peter Jones did not offer to invest in Frame Again, Joe and Jake's business. Instead, he offered to hire them to work for his own company. Joe even says this was special. In 10 years, they never offered someone a job. Okay, activity E. Now listen to part 2 one more time. This time you need to take notes on 6 specific points about the dragons, the pitch, and the offer. Prepare to write short answers for these questions. What does Joe say about smiling at Deborah Meaden? What happened with Jake's first words? What does Joe say about "I'm out"? How does Joe describe Peter's appearance? What does Joe say about Jessup's? What does Joe say about their the job offer? Listen carefully and take notes, then we will check.
8.10. Part 2.
What were the dragons like?
Well, they're obviously told by the producers to be really unfriendly and aggressive. So I remember thinking, when the doors opened and we walked in, what I wanted to do was just to smile at one of them. That was my way of making myself relaxed. And I looked at Deborah Meaden, because she was in the middle, and I smiled at her. But she just, stared at me, stony-faced, to make me feel nervous. And it worked.
Did you think you did a good presentation?
Yeah, we did. But Jake, he usually never gets anything wrong. He forgot his first words, and he just never does that. So we both thought when he got the introduction wrong that it was going to go badly, but it didn't.
So what happened after you'd done your pitch?
Yeah, well, 4 of the dragons said, "I'm out." They said they weren't interested. So we were feeling pretty depressed, pretty negative.
And then?
The last dragon was Peter, and he's quite scary. He's incredibly tall, over 2 meters. And at first, he really criticised us. But then he told us he had a big chain of camera shops called Jessup's, and they were starting online printing and photo framing as part of their business. And then he said, I've got 15 guys in Hong Kong trying to do what you guys are doing, but you guys are doing it better. I'm going to offer you both a job.
Were you very surprised?
Totally, because it had never happened on Dragon's Den before. In 10 years, they'd never offered someone a job.
So he offered you jobs just like that?
Well, his offer was that he wanted to have our business and for us to work with him at Jessop's.
With a good salary?
Very.
So what did you do?
Here are the answers. Check your notes. Smiling at Deborah Meaden, Joe explains his strategy. I remember thinking what I wanted to do was just to smile at one of them. That was my way of making myself relaxed. And I looked at Deborah Meaden, and I smiled at her, but she just stared at me, stony-faced, to make me feel nervous. So he smiled to relax himself, but he stared back, stony-faced, to make him nervous. Okay, number 2, Jake's first words. Joe says, Jake, who usually never gets anything wrong, he forgot his first words, and he just never does that. So Jake, who is usually perfect, like present perfect, forgot his opening line, a rare mistake. Number 3, I'm out. Joe states, 4 of the dragons said, I'm out. They said they weren't interested. So, 4 dragons rejected them. Only 1 remained. Peter's appearance. Joe describes Peter Jones. He's incredibly tall, over 2 meters, and at first he really criticized us. So Peter is over 2 meters tall, very tall, and he was critical, which made him intimidating. Yeah. What about Jessop's? Joe quotes Peter. He told us he had a big chain of camera shops called Jessop's. So Peter owns Jessop's, a large chain of camera shops. The job offer. Joe reports Peter's exact words. I'm going to offer you both a job. And then Joe adds the unique fact. Because it had never happened on Dragon's Den before, in 10 years they'd never offered someone a job. Okay, activity F. Finally, let's listen to the end of the interview, part 3. What did Joe and Jake decide to do about the offer? What was their reason, and did they believe it was the right choice? Listen to find out their final decision.
8.11. Part 3.
It was very stressful because we knew we had to make a decision immediately. So Jake said, yes, let's take the jobs. But I said, you don't want to work for Jessop's. And he stayed silent, and I said, I don't want to work for Jessop's. I mean, neither of us were in a position where we could have dropped everything and gone and worked for Jessop's full time. It was ridiculous.
So you said no?
That's right.
Have you ever regretted saying no?
No, not for a second. It was still early days for us then, so we were still kind of having fun and enjoying running our own business. And things worked out well for us. Frame Again was successful. And eventually we sold the business this year.
But not one of the dragons.
No, but that would have been perfect.
So let's see the answers. What did they decide? Joe and Jake decided not to accept the jobs. Why? Joe explains the reason clearly. Neither of us were in a position where we could have dropped everything and worked for Jessop's full time. He calls the idea ridiculous at that time. He then gives the positive reason. They were still having fun and enjoying running our own business. Did they believe it was the right choice? Yes, absolutely. Joe is asked, have you ever regretted saying no? His direct answer is no, not for a second. He reinforces this by saying that things worked out well. Their business, Frame Again, was successful and they eventually sold it, so they believe their choice was correct and have no regrets. Okay, so great job listening. You've heard the whole story from the nervous wait to the pitch and to the unexpected job offer to their final decision. Now listen to the audios one more time and read the scripts, then I'm going to translate them for you.
8.9. Part 1.
Whose idea was it to go on the programme?
It was my idea. I applied without telling my business partner Jake. Of course, I never really expected to get on it. But then they phoned me from the BBC and said, "You're on the programme." So that's when I told him.
Did you spend a long time preparing your pitch?
Yes. We worked really hard and we practiced a lot so that we knew the pitch word for word. The evening before the show, we actually went for a run up in Manchester where it's filmed. And we went running together, just repeating the pitch over and over again.
How did you feel when you arrived at the den?
Well, we were told to get to the set at about 11 o'clock the night before because you had to prepare everything in advance, like any furniture you need, things like that. It was freezing cold and we were exhausted. We didn't get back to our hotel until the middle of the night, and a car came to pick us up a few hours later at 5:30 in the morning.
What time did you actually do your pitch?
11:30. So we were lucky because we were the first in that particular programme.
Why lucky?
Because we didn't have to wait too long. The other contestants spent ages just waiting around. Some of them, the ones who were on last, had to wait 12 hours.
Did you meet the dragons before you went in to do the pitch?
No, you're not allowed to. Like, if you go to the toilet before you go on, someone has to escort you in case you meet a dragon. So the first time you see them is when you go into the den.
8.10. Part 2.
What were the dragons like?
Well, they're obviously told by the producers to be really unfriendly and aggressive. So I remember thinking, when the doors opened and we walked in, what I wanted to do was just to smile at one of them. That was my way of making myself relaxed. And I looked at Deborah Meaden, because she was in the middle, and I smiled at her. But she just, stared at me, stony-faced, to make me feel nervous. And it worked.
Did you think you did a good presentation?
Yeah, we did. But Jake, who usually never gets anything wrong, he forgot his first words, and he just never does that. So we both thought when he got the introduction wrong that it was going to go badly, but it didn't.
So what happened after you'd done your pitch?
Yeah, well, 4 of the dragons said, "I'm out." They said they weren't interested. So we were feeling pretty depressed, pretty negative.
And then?
The last dragon was Peter, and he's quite scary. He's incredibly tall, over 2 meters. And at first, he really criticised us. But then he told us he had a big chain of camera shops called Jessop's, and they were starting online printing and photo framing as part of their business. And then he said, "I've got 15 guys in Hong Kong trying to do what you guys are doing, but you guys are doing it better. I'm going to offer you both a job."
Were you very surprised?
Totally, because it had never happened on Dragon's Den before. In 10 years, they'd never offered someone a job.
So he offered you jobs just like that?
Well, his offer was that he wanted to have our business and for us to work with him at Jessop's.
With a good salary?
Very.
So what did you do?
8.11. Part 3.
It was very stressful because we knew we had to make a decision immediately. So Jake said, "Yes, let's take the jobs." But I said, "You don't want to work for Jessop's." And he stayed silent. And I said, "I don't want to work for Jessop's." I mean, neither of us were in a position where we could have dropped everything and gone and worked for Jessop's full time. It was ridiculous.
So you said no?
That's right.
Have you ever regretted saying no?
No, not for a second. It was still early days for us then, so we were still kind of having fun and enjoying running our own business. And things worked out well for us. Frame Again was successful, and eventually we sold the business this year.
But not one of the dragons?
No, but that would have been perfect.
А теперь переводить. Часть 1. Чья идея была это пойти на передачу или на программу? Это была моя идея. Я подал заявку, не сказав моему бизнес-партнеру Джейку. Конечно, я никогда реально ожидал попасть туда, но затем они позвонили мне с BBC и сказали: «Вы теперь на программе». So, то есть вот это когда я ему и сказал. Дальше. Вы провели достаточно долгое время, готовясь к вашему выступлению. Да, мы работали очень усердно, и мы практиковались очень много. So that именно поэтому мы знали наше выступление, ну, имеется в виду, как это по буквам, или вообще каждое слово знали в нашем выступлении, нашей презентации. Вечером перед шоу мы так-то побежали, или вообще-то мы как бы пошли побегать, up in Manchester, то есть в этом Манчестере, где это снималось. И мы побежали вместе, просто повторяя нашу презентацию снова и снова. Over and over again, типа снова и снова. Дальше, как вы себя почувствовали, когда вы прибыли, в логово? Нам сказали, чтобы добраться до съемок, до съемочного места в 11 часов, и ночью то есть вечером накануне, потому что как бы нам нужно было приготовить все заранее. Had to prepare everything in advance. Нам нужно было приготовить все заранее. По типу, там, мебель, вы знаете, или вещи, там, необходимые мебель, знаете, вещи типа такого. Это было очень холодно, то есть freezing cold, аж холодно до мурашек, и мы были очень уставшими. То есть мы didn't get back to our hotel, то есть мы не возвращались в наш отель аж до полуночи. И машина, то есть приехала, чтобы подобрать нас несколько часов спустя, получается, half 5 in the morning. Это получается 5:30 утром, то есть 5:30. Дальше у нас, в какое время вы выступили, сделали вашу презентацию? 11:30, это 11:30 или 11:30. Нам повезло, we were lucky, это нам повезло, потому что мы были первыми в этой, particular program, вот в той самой программе мы были первыми. Why lucky? А почему повезло? Потому что нам не нужно было ждать слишком долго. Остальные участники, то есть, потратили или провели, тут целую вечность просто waiting around, то есть, имеется в виду, сидели, ждали, что-то делали, то есть, пытались убить время. Некоторые из них те самые, которые, on last, типа, пошли последними, им пришлось подождать 12 часов. То есть, тем самым, которые выступили последними, им пришлось прождать 12 часов. Так, а вы встретились с драконами, прежде чем вы пошли, то есть делать презентацию? Нет, вообще это не разрешено. You're not allowed to. Не разрешено. Если вы пойдете в туалет, прежде чем вы выступите, go on, кто-то должен сопроводить вас на случай, если вы встретите дракона. Поэтому первый раз, когда вы видите их, это когда вы заходите конкретно в это логово. То есть здесь вот такая ситуация. Так, теперь ко второй части. Итак, часть 2. What were the dragons like? Это ни в коем случае не понравились ли вам драконы. Это немножко другая конструкция. То есть, что они себя представляли, какие они были. Потому что это to be like. Они очевидно, им очевидно сказали эти самые продюсеры того шоу быть очень недружелюбными и агрессивными. То есть, это их политика. Поэтому я помню, как я думал, что когда двери открылись и мы вошли, что я хотел сделать, было просто улыбнуться на одного из них. То есть просто улыбнуться. Это был мой способ, как бы making myself relaxed, это чтобы себя расслабить. Так, и получается, я посмотрел на Deborah Meaden, то есть на эту женщину, потому что она была посередине. И я улыбнулся ей, но она просто, знаете, начала пялиться на меня с каменным лицом, то есть stony face с каменным лицом, и это заставило меня нервничать, и это сработало. Даже чтобы заставить меня нервничать, и это сработало. Так. Дальше. Как вы думаете, у вас была хорошая презентация? Да, хорошая, но Джейк, который обычно никогда ничего не путает, он забыл свои первые слова. То есть, he just never does it. Вообще-то он никогда так не делает. Поэтому мы оба подумали, когда мы got the introduction wrong, когда, имеется в виду наше вступление было неправильным, что это все будет очень плохо. Но на самом деле так не случилось. Дальше. А что же случилось, когда вы, закончили свою презентацию? 4 драконов сказали, так, I'm out, то есть я пас, то есть нет. Они сказали, что им это не было интересно. Мы почувствовали себя очень сильно, не то чтобы в депрессии, то есть нам было очень грустненько, pretty negative, то есть очень плохо им было. И затем... Так, последний дракон был Питер. Он был очень пугающий, он был очень сильно высокий, даже больше, чем 2 метра. И сначала он нас критиковал, но затем он сказал нам, что у него есть большой сетевой, или целая сеть магазинов камер, то есть фотокамер и других, который назывался Jessops. И они, получается, начинали вот это вот онлайн-принтинг, то есть печать онлайн, и фотофрейминг, то есть делание рамок для фотографий, как часть их бизнеса. И затем он сказал, получается, у меня есть 15 парней в Гонконге, пытающиеся сделать то, что вы, ребята, делаете. Но вы, ребята, делаете это лучше. Я хочу предложить вам двоим работу. Вы были удивлены? Да, то есть totally, то есть полностью. Потому что это никогда не случалось на этой передаче ранее. Через 10 лет, in 10 years, то есть вот в период 10 лет они никогда не предлагали кому-то работу. Так, они предложили вам работы. Типа того, то есть так прямо. Да, его предложение было, что он хотел... he wanted to have our business, то есть что он хотел иметь наш бизнес, и, получается, for us to work with him at Jessops. Так, получается... He wanted to have our business. Да. То есть, его предложение было, что он хотел иметь наш бизнес и для нас, чтобы мы работали на него на Jessops'е. С хорошей зарплатой? Очень хорошей зарплатой. So what did you do? И что же вы, ребята, сделали? Так, теперь к третьей части. И часть третья. И это было очень успешно, потому что мы знали, что нам пришлось принять решение сразу же. Успешно, successful, I'm sorry, это stressful. То есть это было очень, пусть назовем так, стрессово, мы очень сильно нервничали, потому что мы знали, что нам придется сделать это решение, то есть прям сразу, не задумываясь. Поэтому Джейк сказал, да, давай возьмем работы, но я сказал, ты же не хочешь работать на Jessops. И затем он, stayed silent, то есть он затих, то есть в тишине стоял, не говорил ни слова. И я сказал, я не хочу работать на Jessops. Я имел в виду, что neither of us, ни я, ни он были в позиции, можно сказать, что где бы мы могли бы, то есть отказаться от всего и пойти работать на Jessops full-time, то есть в полной занятости. Это было полностью, глупо, это тупо. То есть они столько уже всего проделали, и сейчас отказаться от всего и просто пойти на работу для них было, глупой затеей. Итак, поэтому вы сказали нет. Да, верно. Так, а вы когда-нибудь жалели то, что сказали нет? Нет, даже ни секунды. Да, конечно, это были ранние дни для нас, то есть мы только-только начинали, что мы, вообще-то нам было как-то kind of having fun, то есть нам это было все весело, и вообще нам нравилось, то есть рулить своим собственным бизнесом или управлять своим собственным бизнесом. И дела пошли в гору для нас. То есть things worked out well for us. Да, можно так сказать, дела пошли в гору. Frame Again, то есть их компания, была успешной. И в конце концов мы продали этот бизнес в этом году. Но ни одному из драконов. Нет, это было бы идеально. По поводу последней строчки, что она значит? Имеется в виду, если бы они продали свой бизнес кому-то из драконов, типа показать, что смотрите, ребята, вы ошибались, мы все-таки смогли, а сейчас вы покупаете наш бизнес задорого, а могли бы это сделать, намного дешевле. То есть вот как-то так, такие вот аудиозаписи, думаю, плюс-минус понятные, теперь еще более разобранные, так скажем. Давайте двигаться дальше. And finally, it's time for the final and most exciting part of this video lesson. First, you will listen to the real page from Joe and Jake on Dragon's Den. While you listen, look at the 5 questions on your screen. Your task is simple. Number the questions 1 to 5 in the order that Joe and Jake answer them during their presentation. Listen carefully to the structure of their pitch. Ready? Let's listen.
8.12.
Good morning. I'm Joe and this is Jake. Oh, no, sorry. I'm Jake and this is Joe, and we're here to tell you about our new product, Frame Again.
Frame Again is an online service for printing and framing your photos. At the moment, it's easy to take a photo, but it's difficult to print and frame it attractively. With Frame Again, it couldn't be simpler. First, you upload your photo to the Frame Again website straight from your phone, tablet, or computer. Then, you choose the colours of your frame. Then we print, frame, and deliver your photo to you the very next day. It's quick and it's easy. The product's great and the service is great.
Frame Again is for today's smartphone photographers and Instagram users. That's why we designed a modern frame which is square, perfect for framing Instagram photos. We think it will be very popular because the frames look great in any home or office.
One photo, printed, framed, and delivered to your door, will cost £12.99.
Our slogan is printed, framed, and delivered in 24 hours.
Eight point 12.
Good morning. I'm Joe and this is Jake. I'm Jake and this is Joe, and we're here to tell you about our new product, Frame Again.
Frame Again is an online service for printing and framing your photos. At the moment, it's easy to take a photo, but it's difficult to print and frame it attractively. With Frame Again, it couldn't be simpler. First, you upload your photo to the Frame Again website straight from your phone, tablet, or computer. Then, you choose the colours of your frame. Then we print, frame, and deliver your photo to you the very next day. It's quick and it's easy. The product's great and the service is great.
Frame Again is for today's smartphone photographers and Instagram users. That's why we designed a modern frame which is square, perfect for framing Instagram photos. We think it will be very popular because the frames look great in any home or office.
One photo, printed, framed, and delivered to your door, will cost £12.99.
Our slogan is printed, framed, and delivered in 24 hours.
Excellent. Now it's your turn to become a Dragon's Den contestant. Work with yourself. Your mission is to choose one of the products from the list, like an app, a gadget, or a drink, or invent your own completely new product. Then prepare your pitch. Use the same questions you just heard. Who are you? What is the product? Who is it for? How much does it cost? Use the helpful phrases in the presenting a product box to structure your talk. Prepare and then get ready to present to the class. To yourself, of course. But of course, as usually, I'll give you one example. So you see, two partners are doing a pitch. Partner 1. Good morning, I'm and this is and we are here to tell you about our new product. Partner 2. It's a textbook, and it's called English File Intermediate 4th edition. This isn't just a book, it's a complete learning system that combines a student's book, workbook, online practice, and video materials. Partner 1. This product is for adult learners and teachers around the world who want a modern, engaging, and effective way to learn English. It's perfect for students who want to improve their speaking, listening, grammar, and vocabulary in real-life contexts. Partner 2. They think it will be very popular because it's based on a proven method. It's full of interesting topics and motivating activities, and it has a perfect balance of grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. It makes lessons dynamic and fun. Partner 1. It will cost £45 for the full student pack, which is excellent value for a year of high-quality learning. Partner 2. Our slogan is Real Language, Real Results. And both together, we're seeking a £5,000 investment for a 10% share in our publishing company. Thank you. You see, you have an example, a structure, info box. Now you can practice it on your own. Make up a product of any sort and try to present it to imaginary dragons, potential investors. Who knows, maybe once you will have to do something like this. Good luck with it. Now, let's take a look at your homework tasks. Теперь информация для тех, кто ищет разборы рабочих тетрадей, там, где выполнены все задания и даны мои комментарии. Заходите на любой урок по курсу Intermediate и переходите в описание. В описании первая ссылочка стоит у нас здесь Subscription to Boosty, Workbook Answer, Keys Here. Щелкайте на данную ссылочку и переходите на сайт Boosty. Далее производите регистрацию, то есть любым удобным способом. После этого вы можете оформить любую из данных подписок. В самой первой подписке Student разобраны рабочие тетради. После того, как вы подписываетесь, переходите в главное меню, где есть удобная навигация. Вот здесь English File Elementary, English File Pre-Intermediate, English File Intermediate. В принципе, то, что нам нужно. Щелкайте на данную ссылочку Workbook, вас переносит к данному посту. Там будут даны ссылки на видео с разборами рабочих тетрадей. Они будут постоянно обновляться, то есть выходит новый юнит, автоматически здесь появляются разборы и рабочие тетради. Это поможет вам лучше разобраться в домашней работе, ну а мне в свою очередь поможет продолжать выпускать данные видеоролики, потому что, ребят, честно, без вашей поддержки делать это очень-очень тяжело. Спасибо за внимание. Переходим к заключительному слову. Finally, well done, you have completed Unit 8A, the right job for you. Let's take a moment to look back at everything we've done together in this unit. In this unit, you learned how to talk about work, careers, and business in English. You studied important vocabulary for jobs, words like apply, get promoted, be made redundant, resign, freelance, self-employed, and so on, and you practiced using them in real contexts. You practice the challenging grammar of gerunds and infinitives, learning when to say I enjoy working and when to say I want to work. You even learned how to write a professional covering email, a real skill that you can use when applying for jobs in English. And you explored the exciting world of entrepreneurship through Dragon's Den, reading about real products and predicting their success. You practice your listening skills with a real interview, following Joe's story from the nervous wait to the pitch to the unexpected job offer to his final decision. And finally, you used your speaking skills to share your own opinions about the products and, in the next part, to present your own product idea. And remember, the key to learning is practice. Try to use the new words and grammar when you talk about your job, your plans, and when you watch a business show. The more you use them, the more natural they will become. Great work today! What to say? You've built new skills, added new words to your vocabulary, and practiced real-life communication. As usually, it would be so nice if you could support me by putting a like on this video and subscribing to both the YouTube and Telegram channels. That really helps more people find these lessons. And the best thing you can do, the thing that helps me the most, is to subscribe on boosty.com. Your support allows me to keep making more wonderful lessons like this one. Now, I think that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for learning with me. I'll see you on the next video lesson. Bye bye and take care.